Yeah. Right? And I'm not playing no games. Yeah.
Good morning, I am Pops, and here we are. She-Hulk has dropped, and man, oh man, what a tough lead up the show has had. It is challenging, to be honest with you, to try to stay objective and evaluate it because I feel like the question is the show really just more MCU and woke trash, or is it going to try to be something different? Is it a PR nightmare? Is it whatever? And some of the things that are out there already are kind of sending some mixed signals. So let me do a review and a reaction with you through this episode, which I think most people are going to enjoy. I think it will really marginalize the extreme haters. Because I think even with it being problematic and having its third wave feminist stuff, it is more like traditional old school feminist jokes and gags, not as belittling or as crazy as what we all feared was going to be the case. So, anyway, so She-Hulk. Uh, it's a comic book that was created in 79. Savage She-Hulk, where it first appeared, it was created because Stan Lee wanted to make sure they had a female version of Hulk because they couldn't really copyright the word Hulk. It's kind of so Incredible Hulk and things like that. So they had to try to make their own derivative character as soon as possible because they knew the competitors would. And she didn't really have much of a personality. She was kind of a grunt and groan. Nobody understood her kind of stuff. It kind of is a slow developing comic compared to when John Byrne took over and you get into like Sensational, where it becomes like breaking the fourth wall. It becomes she definitely becomes more of a sexy, iconic character who is super smart and also tough. And that's when you start leading into the later years. We start getting her into Avengers and getting her to the Fantastic Four. You get into other stuff where she's definitely become more of a fan favorite. So the show begins with Jen Walters, as you see. She's giving her power lawyer speech, and basically, it's a who is responsible with power. In other words, it's like if it's literally going to be the metaphor for where the show's going, where she's going to become a superhero lawyer. In that, is it their fault when other people are damage control? Is it their fault when other people or other damage is happening? If they were trying to do good, or they didn't know certain things were going to happen. She's given her spiel, her closing argument. She's practicing all that. We get a brief glimpse of her coworker here, and then this kind of like cheesy, douchey lawyer coworker who's like, "No, I'll do the closing. Whatever. Who you going to listen to? You're going to listen to your assistant. You're going to listen to me." And she's like, "I want to listen to her because she's right, and I'm right." It's fine. It on premise, it seemed like it was going to come across as witchy. It's not. It was fine. And here's basically where she gives her a little backstory because, by the way, she's already the She-Hulk. This is for a few months ago. So we're going to have this massive flashback to her and Bruce being on a little bit of a road trip. And it's them giving a lot of exposition of things that happened off screen, including things that happened during the blip. So we get all these sequences that we saw in the trailers lead up where they're talking about nonsense. They're having Cheetos and chopsticks, and then she's giving her silly little gag questions about Captain America's sex life when the spaceship pops up and wrecks the car, because she's not paying attention to what she's doing, so she wrecks the car. So I know we've all heard and seen some of the memes and the jokes already. Women driving, and is she supposed to be powerful and whatever when she's the one that caused the problem? It was also revealed in the sequence. We can get a shot of it real quick. See how he has this thing on his left hand right there? This basically just looks like a cheesy special effects gimmick of like a cell phone with that strapped to his hand. It's something that prevents him from hulking out. It's some sort of device, quote, a prototype device, the only one he has, that keeps him from hulking out. And he is already starting to heal. Things like that. Anyway, so there's a wreck, and then she ends up trying to help him. I thought this would be a more intense scene or something that would have some dramatic effects, and really it's not cut like that at all. And you have sort of like this very, very quick shot of her pulling him out of the car. She is saving the day. I know. Um, she is saving the day, but then I guess somehow they're playing it up that their blood gets mixed in this scene. He's not bloody enough that there'd be blood being mixed, but that's what they're going for. Jen, get away from me. I'm bleeding is what he says. And then she basically starts transforming. And that's kind of what you end up with. She wakes up in the woods and she's kind of a mess. And she goes to this little place to try to freshen up. And then we kind of get into silly girl stuff. The girls that are seeing her like, oh, girl, you're a mess. Whatever he did to you. And they're giving her clothes. They put shoes on her, the whole thing, and try to freshen her up. Right. I don't know who, when she's back out front, I don't know who she's waiting for. Like, I don't get, she's just standing out there because, like, it's, the vehicle they had was wrecked. So I don't know. So that's what's happening. These guys are hitting on her, give her a hard time. She-Hulk up and punches one of them. Whatever. Wait, okay, let me go back. That's not true. Hold on. Back. I missed that. Good thing I'm watching this again with you guys. See? No, we got to go back just a little bit more because she is going to attack him. Right? They're all being flirt. They're all whatever. She starts hulking out, which, all this was fine. Oh, I see. Hulk dives in and prevents her from attacking them because he thinks she's like completely out of control, rage monster. Then she wakes up. She's in his little beach house. That's revealed to be in Mexico, and that he has a secret lab that's underneath, and this is where he did all of his work during the blip. This is where he was. There's little jokes about being called Professor Hulk or Smart Hulk, those kinds of things. It doesn't change the fact that Mark Ruffalo has just become cringy and it bleeds through so much. Like, it's just not interesting. I don't get the banner that they're going for now, because now he's like funny soy boy banner, not interesting, smart, genius scientist banner. Like in Avengers, it seemed like he was more like awkward and nerdy, and now because of the Tony Stark relationship, we're supposed to just presume that he's just a different person now, basically. Anyway, so they're going through all of the science, the alleged science they're making up, because in the comic book, she gets shot, and he has to actually do a blood transfusion. There's no one else to save her at the moment. He does it, and that's obviously how the blood would get into her. So they changed all that, and here they're changing some of the science and setup, because she's playing like word games with him and stuff like that. Basically, it's about, I did all this experiments. Your blood did this. I actually am healing better now. Like, she's like, oh, my blood's better than your blood. And then they destroy the blood, which, by the way, if this doesn't get called back to, I don't understand the point of some of the sequence. Like, he does destroy her blood. So if we don't have some sort of blood that comes out of her at some point that someone tries to steal, this was all just a lot of exposition, a backstory, and whatever. And he's just lecture about how to be a Hulk. Like, he's figured it out. His way is the only way. Definitely a lot of mansplaining, basically. It's a lot smoother than some of the other pushback on that than other shows have done, other movies have done, but it's the same kind of stuff. And then it's like, I have to go on this journey. Here's my binder. This is the scene that we saw in the trailer where, I love the fact that it just happens so fast, and he has up. There's no other plan here. Just Hulk out and do your thing. Nick had him giving the thumbs up, right? This is a famous shot that was in the trailer. And then, of course, she's destroying everything because she doesn't care. So he's like, "Well, that's $1 million this that you broke or whatever." So anyway, reality is, this is the part where they start to realize that Jen is in control. There's no alternate personality. Bruce and Hulk are two different personalities. He's gotten control of one, and melded them together into this alleged Professor Hulk. And then Jen is not like that. So that's kind of what basically all of this is explaining and going through for the audience, right? And her just being smarmy and snarky that, maybe there's a different way. I don't want this. I want to just be a lawyer. This is what I want to do. And then basically you start some of the beach stuff. You start getting into some of the training and some of the different things. This is her and them making yoga and butt jokes. This was the air horn scene we saw in the trailer. Because all of the so even if there's a chance that some of these jokes would land, they were all ruined in the trailer. So this is this one. Right? She breaks the bed. We saw this in the trailer, and it's like, well, it's funny for comedy. Ha ha ha. It's like, okay, I don't. We could have had seen pieces of things without ruining everything. Anyway, so there's like the spandex joke, and then they're throwing rocks. Now, what they did save was the fact that Hulk didn't want to be showed up. So in the trailers and all that, you start to see that she throws further than him, and she celebrates. So he just gets the last thing. He just throws a rock that's like way further. He's just showing off, right? So then there's all of the yoga stuff, and then there's the pushing her over, and she flips him off, and then there's a lot of they just drop profanity like no big deal, and then it's like I hate as comic book nerds, we enjoyed stories and heroism and things that are interesting, and not it's cool to be Hulk because I can drink a lot. Really? Like it's and his pitch is, it's what you have to do to protect the world. You just have to be, you're just a superhero. It's what you just have to be. It's like his pitch is so stupid and lame and juvenile. I couldn't stand it. Anyway, even though they can drink a lot, evidently she can have a hangover. So that's kind of what happens. And there's still all this back and forth about her, quote, training back at yoga and all this nonsense. She's like, I don't want to be a superhero. I just want to be a lawyer. And she transforms and does some nonsensical things and whatever. And then she's like, I'm leaving. So then they basically end up into a little mini fight, right? So they get to a little mini fight, and it is interesting because they did better than I thought it would, because you can tell that Hulk's not hulking out. Now she does this thing here with her hands that almost creates more like a sound wave effect rather than just the ripple effect of the Hulk. Hers is a little bit different. He is definitely being affected by it. So the fact that she has something that can beat him that wasn't just pure brawn, I think is smart. But basically they end up just scuffling and destroying everything, including the bar. They destroy all sorts of stuff. And this is that joke that they said in the trailer, and they cut it short. And then it's about, she's going to leave, and then they're trying to like family bond, whatever, and it's okay. And you cut back, and you're actually in scene that was in the beginning with the opening arguments, right, where she's going to give her closing arguments. And then right as she's about to, let's see if I get the right shot here. You have this creature that I don't know who. Okay, I don't know the characters. I'm going to have to do my legwork to learn a little bit more on this kind of nonsense, because just bursts in. That's what we get right here. So they say, "Oh, you got to Hulk out. You got to do your thing," because only the assistant, which looks like a different person than the other scene, by the way. So I'm really confused about the characters, but it's okay. We'll sort that out, because I don't think is that the same character that was in the beginning of the episode? Anyway, you got to Hulk out. You got to take care of this character. And she's like, but I like these shoes. I like this outfit. So they make little jokes, and they do change the shoes. And, it's kind of like, I'm Jennifer Walters. So she doesn't say She-Hulk or whatever. And she just quickly dismantles the situation. And then she transforms back into Jen. Oops, went too far. Transforms into Jen and says, I'm ready to give my closing argument. Like a boss. That was really good. I like that part. And then you have the credits. Credits are fine. and then you cut to the credit scene, because every episode has a credit scene. And this is what we get for a credit scene. Yeah, they're talking about Captain America's sex life, and he's like, no, he had sex. He's not a virgin. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, funny. So, as my thumbnail says, is it woke trash or is it something else? Well, it's definitely woke, and it has all of the little elements. They don't cut and as abrasive as other shows have been, but it's episode 1, right? We just got started. It doesn't start as high of a note for me as other episode 1s, like other shows, like Moon Knight, for instance, started stronger than this did for me. I will say the actress has done a great job. The CGI is not good. There's definitely the beat scene where she's jumping and she looks more like the Toad than she does She-Hulk. Some of those shots are just not well done. It's definitely not. The biggest thing I think with the CGI is it's not even. Like certain shots work, certain shots don't work. Certain pieces, like the forms of the body and stuff like that, it's not right. I will say it isn't as woke as we thought it was, but that doesn't make it not woke. It can be, 90s or old school feminists and not as woke as today, but that line is very, very blurry. Like pieces of it, it just all overlaps. And I can see a lot of people being cringed out and not liking the show, going, it's just more of the same. Because it is propping her up and casting Hulk aside. Now, it doesn't replace Hulk as much as I thought it would. I thought he was going to stick around for most of the season, so I guess maybe he's going to be in the back and not show up. And we're just going to get some of this other stuff, which I think is at least interesting. So all in all, that's kind of where we are. Its comedy would have landed, I think, better had the promotional material not ruined everything. They are trying for like Ally McBeal. They are literally, I guess there is a reference to that at some point. I know I heard Chris Gore prop up the first 4 episodes with Alan. They were really all about it. They liked it a lot. They said it wasn't woke. I can't agree with that. I think it is woke, but it's like, it's way lower on the bar, closer to where like traditional feminist jokes are than some of the modern stuff, where you're just belittling men for the sake of belittling men, thinking that props women up, or turning them into complete witches on wheels, where that's supposed to make them strong women, and that doesn't. But overall, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. It's not like something I can tell people like, oh, it reverses everything. It's all good. Go back to the MCU and we're good now. That's not true. That's bull crap. Don't buy into any of the people saying that kind of stuff. There's cringy parts, but it's not. Other part works. And I will say the main actress is the only reason it's tolerable, at least for now. And they do try to spend some time in her human form. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I understand each episode kind of like sets up a different court case or something like that, which I think is a good idea. I don't know how many episodes there are, so I'll have to do a little more legwork on this. Kind of got behind, I just kind of set She-Hulk to the side because so many people were going to talk about it and bash on it. And then when I watched it this morning, I realized, well, it's not that bad. It's like, it's just okay. But it's also not good. Like, let's not get carried away. I think Chris Gore and them are a lot more enamored with it, but they've seen, I guess, the first 4 episodes. So we'll see how it goes. So anyway, that's my thoughts. You go watch it. Tell me what you think. Tell me where I'm off base. I'm okay with that. Hit me up with that. That's fine. And with that, let me send you out with a little Bob Ross and some chill time.
Bob Ross, all I do is chill. My life is a thrill, for real, Bob Ross. I be too comforted.